Welcome back to the show, Speaker Mike Johnson. And we appreciate it very much, sir. I know you're busy on this big day. Thank you for doing this. There's a rumor, there's a little story going up on Fox News that Democrats want to disrupt Trump's speech tonight. And my thought here was a simple one. With a guy as popular as he is, with 70 and 80% approval ratings on his policies, let me get this right. They're going to disrupt that? They have nothing to say? They can't even take men out of women's sports? Really?
It's incredible. I mean, they have nothing left. They're a party without a leader, without a vision, without a platform they could run on. All they can do is try to disrupt. And I hope they don't do that tonight. This joint address to Congress, Larry, is historic. I mean, normally you would have a State of the Union. The president would come in really on or about the end of the first year of his term. But I invited him this early because there is so much to report. President Trump is having an historic second term, and he's done so much in the less than 45 days that it would take him 3 hours to just go through all of the wins and all the victories and the things that he's achieved so far. So I hope the Democrats don't try to disrupt that, because the American people back home are applauding it, and we are here as well in the House Republican Conference.
I mean, Mr. Speaker, we were looking at numbers from a Democratic poll yesterday, a good one, Harvard-Harris poll. 81% favor deportation, 76% want to end waste, fraud, and abuse and corruption, 70% want to cut at least $1 trillion out of the budget. That's remarkable. By the way, his peace overtures to Zelensky, even though Zelensky blew up, his peace overtures are very popular. People think the minerals deal is a good idea. I mean, Democrats would die if they had numbers remotely like this after the licking they took last November.
Yeah, and they won't have high numbers again if they keep doubling down on their failed policies. It's as if they didn't get the message of the election. They were repudiated, and we got a mandate. I would really summarize what President Trump has done in 2 words. It's strength and common sense. He is restoring America's stature on the world stage. He is bringing back the idea of peace through strength. He is putting the pieces together in place to get the economy strong again, and we'll follow up with our legislative agenda to do the same. And he's restoring common sense in every one of these areas. That's the common theme that you'll see throughout this administration, and I think he's going to have a lot to say about that tonight, to just lay out those victories and explain why it's so important to every single American. And I think that's a winning message, a winning set of policies, and we are very excited to be where we are right now.
Well, since you sort of mentioned it, that was my hook. I'm waiting for him, part of the speech, to unleash prosperity, okay? I want tax cuts, permanent, use the right baseline. Let's get the spending cuts. By the way, you worked a miracle, Mr. Speaker, in getting it through the House last week. An absolute miracle. Now it's time to build on that miracle. He's got to unlock the energy. He's got to have the reciprocal trade policy. He's got to unlock the spending cuts. In other words, unleash prosperity. Let's just go for it. By June 1st, let's get the whole bloody bill done.
Well, you've been a big help with that, Professor Kudlow, as I like to call you. You've taught us all a lot, and your voice has been an important one in this. You're right. It's got to be one big, beautiful bill, as the president says, because that's how we'll check all those boxes. We'll achieve all those big priorities and fulfill all those promises we made on the campaign trail. We can do it all at once, and if you break it up into separate pieces, it's going to be much harder to push through. I appreciate you complimenting the work of all my colleagues. It was a team effort to get that budget resolution done last Tuesday night. We defied the odds, the media and the Democrats. They all said it couldn't be done. But Republicans here are going to stick together. We are going to accomplish this mission. I think it could be the most consequential piece of legislation that Congress has passed in many decades. And by extension, President Trump is already showing that he could be the most consequential president arguably in history, certainly in the modern era. If we continue at this pace, we're going to hold the majority for a long, long time.
Well, I do believe miracles, and you produced one. Speaking of non-miracles, though, I'm hearing that Zelensky of Ukraine is now trying to crawl back into the good graces. He's even maybe apologizing to President Trump and willing to sign a minerals deal. That minerals deal, by the way, would give him more tripwire security against Vladimir Putin and a real future for Ukraine than anything else that could happen. You hear anything about this, Zelensky coming back home, or what do you think, Mr. Speaker?
Yes. In fact, I talked to President Trump about this about 2 hours ago, and when the statement was coming through from Zelensky, and I said, Mr. President, that's exactly what he needed to say. I mean, he's effectively already apologized to the president about the way that went down in the Oval Office several days ago, and he's coming back to the table. It is very wise on his part to accept that deal. As you said, Larry, that's the best outcome, the best possible scenario that can bring peace to that conflict. And once President Trump gets Zelensky to the table, then he gets Putin to the table, and we resolve this thing. We said all along, when we gave the last supplemental to Ukraine, the entire idea was to keep them in the game, at least maintain status quo, so they could get to the point of a peace negotiation. And we said back then, and I believed it, and it came true. President Trump was going to be reelected president. He's the only person strong enough, the only person on the planet strong enough to bring these parties to the table and make them negotiate an end to the conflict. And that appears to be on track again. We're very excited about that. I think it's good for us. It's in America's interest and, of course, our European allies and everybody around the world.
All right. Well, Speaker Johnson, thank you for your time. We know you're all for business today. Good luck this evening. Thank you, sir. Yeah, there you go. Speaker Mike Johnson is really kind of a miracle worker getting all that stuff through. One big, beautiful bill is going to make it.